I was in the mood to make something Christmassy, so I decided to make some Christmas snowflake trivets. I think they're beautiful, they're super easy to make. I think you can do it too. I decided to use some maple and some walnut, and I also reversed the wood species combinations on the other ones. But there's a bit of a twist. I decided to challenge myself to see if I could make 8 of these in 8 hours. So stick around and see if I can pull it off and succeed in my mission.
This is a great project in order to use some of the scraps up in your shop, and I had some maple and some walnut kicking around that I thought would be perfect for this.
This lumber was stored in a barn, so it was air dried, and lots of dust and just 30 years of just dirt and dust on it. So let's just get some of it off with the wire brush so that it doesn't dull the cutter heads on any of the machines all that fast.
The edges on my stock are far from straight, so in order to safely mill these, you need to get some straight edges, and the best way to do that is mark a line with a straight edge on your stock, take them to the bandsaw, and rip them. Now I've chosen to rip mine just a little bit less than 8 inches so that they'll fit through my jointer, and then I'll be able to actually start milling these up and be able to safely cut these to width and all the dimensions using the table saw shortly. Although I'm pretty particular whenever I mill the lumber for any project, I didn't get too crazy with this one because all the pieces are pretty short and small. If I was making something like a dining room table, I would definitely take my time in the milling, much more than I did with this project, but the time still did add up.
All right, so at this point in the project, I'm at about an hour and a half into it, and we've got the milling basically all done. And now we'll have to come back to this after I get home tonight from work. See you in a little bit.
The last thing that I needed to do to complete my stock preparation was to make 8 identical squares. The easiest way to do that is at the table saw with a crosscut sled. Set up a stop block so that you can crosscut your stock to the same length. Then spin your workpiece 90 degrees and cut it off again with that crosscut sled and the stop block so that you get a perfect square. Do that 8 times and you'll be all set with nice equal stock so that when you go make some repetitive cuts later at the bandsaw, every cut is going to be in the same place.
So the first step in beginning to make the actual pattern on these snowflake trivets is to set up a stop block with a dado stack in the table saw. I put it at 5/16 of an inch for the actual width of the dado. Once we've done this pattern on all of the 8 trivets, this is my test piece, which so far is coming out just fine. But once we've done that cross pattern on all 8, then we'll actually set our miter fence up to do a 45 right from one point to the other point so that we'll be able to run the other pattern on it. So let's begin by making the cross like so, and we'll carry on. So here's where things start to get a little bit squirrely. We're gonna make a lot of really odd cuts, but it's gonna make sense when we're all done, so follow along.
We need to make a lot of precise cuts in order to make the chevrons for these snowflakes. Luckily, everything's at 45 degrees or at 90 degrees, so you'll be able to set the miter gauge up on your bandsaw to make these cuts. You'll need to make sure that you line the blade up in the proper place when you set your stop block on that miter gauge though.
So now I've set up a stop block so that I can make these same cuts on the other 4 sides of this octagon.
I think this camera angle really shows what I'm doing a little bit better than the previous angles, so if you think so too, let me know in the comments by writing squirrely. Just don't ask me how to spell it though.
You may have noticed that throughout this build so far, I've been wearing a dust mask. And I've been trying to take the safety of my lungs a little more seriously recently, and Basecamp was nice enough to send me some masks free of charge. They've got a great Black Friday sale going on right now where you can save 20% off site-wide. So there's a link down in the description. You can use that. After Black Friday, I also have a 10% off discount code. It's just Gary10. I've been pretty happy with this mask throughout this whole project build. I've used it with the bandsaw. My bandsaw has poor dust collection, as does my table saw. The table saw throws dust all over the place. I wasn't actually smelling any of the walnut from this project. And if you've ever worked with walnut before, you know it has a pretty distinct, stronger smell to it. I emptied the dust collector partway through the video. I didn't show that, but no dust. I just can't smell anything. It doesn't fog up your glasses. I was quite pleased with it actually, and it wasn't hot to wear. A lot of masks can get hot with a lot of condensation around the mouth. The mask is very easy to put on. Once you've got the straps adjusted properly, all you do is slip it over your face, up on the top of your head there, and the back just goes on with some Velcro. Simple as that. Let's get back to the project build.
So at this point right here, I'm going to start to make these cuts in the corners to remove these corner squares. And after that, I need to do that same removal in the middle of all of the sides. I'm not certain if that's going to stymie me in order to be able to actually continue cutting and setting up my stops and jigging and whatnot, but I'm kind of pressed for time. I'm going to see what happens, and if I run into problems, I'll deal with it on the fly. But for right now, I don't want to think about how it's all going to play out. Normally I do, but let's just start cutting these corners out on all the pieces, and then we'll remove the side pieces and see where we end up. So hopefully it's not going to paint myself into a corner, so to speak, but we'll soon find out.
Now I know with all these cuts on the workpiece, it looks kind of complicated, but it really isn't. You're basically going to make the same cut on all four sides, flip the piece over, make all the same cuts also on all four sides, and then you'll have 8 cuts. Then you're going to set your miter gauge up at 45 degrees, and you're going to go and make all those same cuts on both sides of the workpiece all over again. Everything we've removed up to this point is waste, so you can just discard it. Now we need to start making all the chevrons that we're going to glue onto these snowflakes later on. So it's as simple as making all your cuts on one side of the workpiece, flipping it over, making all your cuts on the other side, and saving all those pieces that you release. So as I kind of predicted, here's where I did paint myself into a bit of a corner, and I've lost all the reference sides that I could use against my fence. So I ended up having to make this crazy looking jig so that I would be able to actually continue cutting the chevrons out of the other 4 sides of this octagon. But it ended up working out, so no harm, no foul. I actually think I should have made a jig something like this to begin with, because it actually really sped the process up, and I kind of just eyeballed most of the cuts using this jig, so I kind of think it sped things up overall.
I went ahead off camera and I made up all of the filler strips or the rays or the veins for all of these snowflakes, and we're going to use one piece going all the way through the middle. Then we'll put the other ones at 90 degrees to them. We're still going to keep the overall length of each sort of 45 degree section or every ray section at 8 inches. So we're going to need to set up a series of stop blocks with the table saw in order to do that, because these ones are going to be a little bit less than 4 inches because they don't go all the way to the very center of the snowflake. And then we're going to cut the ones that have 45s on these inside corners last. And once again, we'll have to probably adjust for the length of that a little bit at the table saw on the fly. But let's go and run all of the same pieces at the same time so we don't have to set up the stop blocks over and over again at the table saw. We're in the home stretch. We're almost there. I'm hoping we're going to make this Christmas challenge work. So let's get back at it.
So once you have the 2 veins in the center meeting at 90 degrees, all the rest of the cuts are a bunch of 45 degree cuts. And although it looks really fast in this particular edited version, this took a little bit longer than what you might think. Unfortunately, back at the beginning of the project, I was unable to get those dados going perfectly from corner to corner on those beginning squares that I made. That ended up resulting in having to fit each one of these remaining pieces individually.
Okay, so minor spoiler alert. I'm at about 9 hours into this project, so I haven't completed it in the allotted 8 hours I wanted to get it completed in. As you can see, I've got pieces all over the place for these snowflake trivets, and I don't think I'm at a complete fail because there's a few tips I can give you on how to speed up this process so that you can get this done in your shop within the 8 hours. So make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the video because I'll be sharing some of those with you shortly. But for now, I got to get these things glued up. So let's pitter patter, get at her.
When gluing up these trivets, what I did was I marked my center line on the center piece here so that I'll be able to get it right where it needs to go, and I can get it as accurate as possible. Now, you don't have to get crazy with your accuracy because at the end of the day, nobody's ever going to come in here in your kitchen and try to figure out whether or not things are perfectly symmetrical and centered and so on. But I found one of the easiest ways to glue these up is with the spring clamps. I actually left these pieces a little bit higher or a little bit proud of the center maple piece, so the clamps will be able to clamp those down and keep them nice and flat against the bottom of that dado that we made way back at the beginning. Slip a couple clamps on those. I did label all the pieces so that I will be able to know which piece goes where, because some of the 45-degree cuts are a little tiny bit off, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. Let's carry on here and see if we can get the other pieces where they need to go. And we'll add some clamps. And we'll just wiggle these back and forth a little bit in that dado there. Get another clamp on there, make sure it's nice and tight at that center point. I think it's relatively good practice at this point to kind of set this aside and let this dry, because you won't easily be able to get the clamps onto the other four without things getting in the way. But we don't need to leave these clamps on too super long like this before we put the other ones on, maybe 10 minutes or so, and you're likely never going to get these pieces apart. I'm not certain I'm going to put any finish on these. I'm a little bit sort of on the fence because I don't know if having some finish on these is going to make them too slippery and maybe the pots will slide around on them. So we'll see what happens once they're all done. But as of right now, I'm not necessarily planning on putting any finish on them. Let me know in the comments down below if you think they need a finish or not. At the end of the day, I probably will, just because that's the way I am, but maybe we don't really need them to be finished and slick, although it will make the colors and the contrast of those two woods pop way more. One time-saving tip while you're gluing these up is while you're letting that first one dry, you can get the other 4 spring clamps on the next one, because there's no sense sitting around here waiting for glue to dry. It's like watching paint dry or watching your grass grow. There's not a lot of point in it. So make sure you get that in the position you need to have it. Get your center line on there, and I think we're pretty darn close. Get a couple on there to hold it in place. I don't think you really need to put glue on both pieces. As long as you get enough in there to begin with, you should find that you are good to go. I've only really let this dry long enough for me to do maybe the same pattern of gluing on another 4 of these trivets. I only have 16 of these clamps, so 4 at a time on each one. So it's probably been like maybe 10 minutes or so, but I think that's plenty of time in order to carry on here. So let's start gluing on the other pieces. Gluing up these other portions are very similar. You do have to put a little more care into getting the corners lined up because you don't want any gaps. So just make sure that when you insert the other 4 pieces that you're getting them nice and tight up into the center portion of the snowflake. And I'm trying to work a little bit of glue up into there as well, and that way if there's any gaps, maybe the glue will fill some of it in. And I find to get these in quick, fast, easy, set it down, put all of them in at the same time, just insert it a little bit and get it pushed into that corner, and then you can just drop it in. Wipe off some of that excess while it's easy before you get those clamps on. Let's get some of these clamps on there. Let's let these set up and dry for a little bit and we'll come back and finish up. The final step of the glue up is to get these chevrons onto the actual snowflake. And in order to do that, I would recommend that you try to add glue to a few of them all at once. And that way you won't be going back to your glue bottle over and over and over again. I'm actually going to put glue on all of them because I think it's going to save some time. I think if you work fast enough, it's unlikely that you're going to have the wood swell enough that they will not actually go onto the snowflake. And I'm going to spread that glue up on those side walls a little bit. You don't want to put too much on, otherwise you might have excess squeeze out. Now, you can use a spacer block to ensure that you're getting these approximately where you want them to go. I did just use one of these other chevrons. Once you've got a couple of them in place, really, you're not going to need that spacer block. You'll be able to kind of line it up by eye, I think, overall. Yeah, it's pretty close. Snowflakes are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, so if you're a little bit off on your spacing just by doing it by eye, so be it. I would say you probably want the tip to stick out a little further than the chevron, just so it looks right. But that's just my opinion. At the end of the day, do what you want. And then I just flip it over and push them down. I'm not going to use a hammer or anything like that because I think that's going to possibly break some of them along the long grain, depending on how they're oriented on here. I just had a short break to have some supper, go play some Sunday night ball hockey. Now I'm all back in the shop for the last stage here, which is basically just sanding all of these trivets. So let's get to that. And obviously we'll get some good dust protection on here and we'll go at this. Well, I did decide to actually put a little bit of finish on these trivets, and I'm just going to use some of the Minwax antique oil. Really super simple, and hopefully that's going to get these colors to really pop. Yeah, that's making the colors pop nice. Look at that. This will make them look a lot better and actually finished. So I'll go ahead and do this to every single one of them off camera, and I'll show you the end result momentarily.
Well, after about 12 hours, I finally got this project done. I think you could probably actually build it much faster than I took because I was filming and moving lights and camera angles around. I think you could easily accomplish this on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you've still got a few more weekends before Christmas comes. So go give it a try and give some of these away in somebody's stocking or under the tree.
And if you're looking for another beginner-friendly project, click this link up in the top corner because it'll take you to one of my other project builds. Until next time, go build something beautiful.